What is up, folks? Welcome back to another day of mental skills training. Mindset Coach Trev here. Pleased to have you join. Yesterday, we kicked off this conversation centered around the idea of neutral thinking. Remember, this is the framework developed by mental performance coach Trevor Moawad and has been used with remarkably high-level programs like Alabama football and Nick Saban, Russell Wilson of the NFL. Your challenge yesterday was to go out onto the range, the practice green, or even the course and utilize neutral thinking. With the highs, with the lows, with the good, with the bad, really just experimenting and trying it on for size. I hope you've gotten the chance to do that. If not, please pause this video. Don't take things any further until you've gotten that done. If you have knocked that out, I hope it was insightful, and I hope you started to see some shifts within your data. Today, however, we're going to take things a step further, because here's the deal. If we don't really intentionally train neutral thinking, then it never becomes our norm. It never translates into our organic self-talk that we don't even have to think about, but just comes up naturally. And ultimately, that's the point here. We want to become aware of what we're saying. We then want to utilize specific phrases and tools and strategies so that ultimately our natural and native self-talk comes through in this empowering and helpful way. Today, we're going to take this a step further then by looking at a specific way you can use neutral thinking. This is what I like to call the accept and acknowledge strategy. That's not how you spell that, but you get the point. And here's how it works. Just as the name states, when you hit a moment of adversity, first you accept. And that means you call out the negative, you call out what happened, right? You call out the bad break, you call out the mistake, you call out the ugly part of the moment. And then, after accepting, you acknowledge. And you acknowledge the good element within, right? Sure, the outcome, the end result might not have been ideal, but let's pinpoint one positive out of it. An example could be, damn, I really pulled the hell out of that. But honestly, the swing felt committed. It creates a little balance. Yes, maybe we didn't like the outcome. We didn't like the result. Let's bring that to attention. But equally as much, let's highlight what good was there. And maybe that was that our swing felt committed or our pre-shot routine was still solid and focused. Again, some other made up examples here could be you catch a bad break. Well, maybe the self-talk in that moment is freaking terrible break. Loved the swing though. We can't control the bad break. So let's not make that such a big thing. What we can control is the swing. So let's acknowledge that we did that well. Another example could be, man, the irons are really struggling today, but the putter's hot, so let's ride that wave, right? We're accepting the negative. We're accepting the friction, the adversity, but we're also acknowledging what's working, what was good, what's positive out of the moment, and we're letting both be true. This style of neutral thinking is so powerful because it grounds us in both realities. We don't have to live in a black or white world. Yes, we can accept the piece we don't like, while also we can acknowledge what we did do well, what was the process element that was solid. As I mentioned earlier, however, this only works if we train it, if we practice it, if we really drill it down. So let's experiment with that right now. If you wouldn't mind, get out your InnerLoop notebook, and I want you to experiment with this quick exercise. I want you to think about a particular situation on the course that consistently gives you trouble. Where do you consistently have some friction or have some difficulty? Maybe it's after a certain scenario happens. Maybe it's when you get an early lead. Maybe it's off the tee box, things aren't looking good right off the start of a round. Whatever the common scenario is that can give you a little trouble, let's highlight that. Then I want you to imagine you're there in that moment. That moment has just occurred. And in your notebook, I want you to write down what your neutral response would be to that scenario. So maybe I have a tendency of pulling my tee shots, and I know when I do that, I always get frustrated, and it typically leads to more negativity and more tension. That's my moment. So in my notebook, I'm gonna write down an example of neutral thinking in that moment. Freaking pull my tee shot left again. I always do this. But I also know I'm great out of the rough, so let's go get it. Another example could be maybe I blow an easy putt right past the hole, right? And maybe I know when I do that, when I have too much momentum there, it always gets underneath my skin. So what's my neutral phrase where I acknowledge and accept going to be in that moment? Man, blew it past the hole again. Read was good, just take it easy. Again, these might sound cheesy, these might sound cliche, and that's all right. Again, we need to experiment. We need to find the way it naturally matches with your style and your preferences. And that comes to life by our daily challenge. Today, we're going to stick with this theme of neutral thinking, but I want you to start to dial in on this particular method of accepting and acknowledging. Accepting the negative, accepting the bad break, the friction, the adversity, call it out, but then also acknowledge what went well. What did you do? What did you like about your process? Get out there again on the range, on the green, on the course, whatever is able and whatever is, already built into your schedule. Let's go get out there. Let's bring this with us. Let's accept, let's acknowledge, record as always, analyze afterwards, and again, let's take a look at what's different. Again, how has your neutral ratio or percentages shifted? Have your most common phrases changed? Do you see a difference in your heat map, perhaps? Maybe less dips, maybe less spikes of negativity. Go knock it out, and I'll see you again here tomorrow for another conversation on neutral thinking. But tomorrow, we're going to shift things up a little bit and look at the cousin, if you will, of the accept and acknowledge method. So if today doesn't feel perfect for you, if it doesn't feel super natural, A-okay, experiment, try it on for size. Tomorrow, I'll throw you out another option that may feel even better. I'll see you then.